All right, Marianne, it's Wednesday. We got some new artwork because we're talking about houses now. Good
Yes. And good morning,
morning.
Wednesday. Yes, cold Wednesday.
Yeah, and there's white stuff on the ground, so I'm not happy. We actually got some this
Yeah.
time.
Is it snowing now by you? It's just starting to snow here again.
Not currently. There's enough to put like a dusting out there. It happened overnight. So, all right.
What's good with you? What's been going on? Anything good?
Um, same old, so I can't really complain. Um, just glad that our inventory's done and now to start getting all the paperwork ready for taxes when we're allowed to do it, which I guess they're not even allowing. Some people like to do taxes early, which I normally am, but I'm hearing that like the IRS isn't even allowing the submissions or something right now. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just waiting to see what's going to happen with the presidency change and the changes, or if it's COVID related and they don't have enough people.
Blame it on COVID. Everything's blamed on that. Just blame it on that.
Well, I'm like,
If
how
you
much?
can't fix it, it's the problem, then you can just blame
Mhm.
it all on that. The post office is still using that for an excuse.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. If you might want to mail your taxes now, and they might get it in 2 months. So,
Well, and that's it exactly. Luckily, we do ours electronically, so
Mhm.
but I can't. Gosh, you would think they want the money. They don't tell me our government doesn't need our money.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Since how many people weren't working and were paying taxes in? Oh, right. So today we're kind of changing up. Um, well, you're going to add some stories from houses, right? Because later your YouTube tonight will be on house.
YouTube, the very first one I'm going to do is everybody always wants to know about kids, little kids. So this is the first house I ever did that I ran into a 3-year-old ghost. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to talk about tonight. It's a little creepy and sad, but it may ring some bells with some people that, something that's going on in their house. And then there's another one then. So we'll see how that goes. I think people like to hear the houses that I've done. And this house with the little girl in it, wow, I did it in the 70s. So it was a long time
It's been a
ago.
minute.
Oh, yes, it is. My own kids were little kids.
Now you've also gone out and you've done businesses. So like if somebody has a business, what kind of like problems happen in businesses for people? Like is it just the lights blinking because the breaker's going bad, or
That's part. It could be that. The other thing that it can do is that if you have a wait staff with more than 4 or 5 people, these people are constantly going to be on each other's back and bickering and throwing knives at one another. That's already happened.
Oh,
And
I
yeah,
laughed. That's serious.
right. Fighting so bad that they've blown open a portal. So, oh yeah, they can do, and it's not old buildings. It can be brand new buildings too. It's wherever they want to go. But plus the fact, and you can't count now because restaurants are, last couple of years it's been horrible with the virus. But when everything was back to normal or was normal, you know, you can walk into a restaurant and you can get a great meal and the wait staff was good, the food was good, but if you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to go back. And they can absolutely positively make your business go right down the tubes if they're causing problems with customers that come in. So it's all kinds of oh, here come the books. It's all kinds of things that can go wrong. What was the second one called?
Oh, she had 2000.
Oh, right. Okay.
You just have too many books, Marianne. You can't remember them all.
This isn't in the picture that I thought it was. Yeah, the first one was Marianne's funeral guide, which
Okay.
was titled so wrong because everybody thought that it was a way that you should read it to see how to have a funeral. But it was basically stories from them. So this wasn't it. This wasn't a good one. And then the second one that I don't think you've ever seen either is Marianne's Ghost Chat.
No.
Yeah, this one was thicker. Who got pictures in here? I don't know. But you'll have to look at these. Cripe.
Yeah, never. You have stumped the book lady, and I've never seen those. Never even saw them. Like, by the way, when ordering books, since you're ordering Marianne's this, do you want this? Okay, let's talk about ghosts.
In the window?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was the one I was talking about. I don't know where the other one is. Anyway, I'll have to give these to you. You'll have to take a look at them. See what you think. These are old. Now, everybody must be watching TV with the election today. Are we getting anybody watching us? Coming on?
Well, you've got Sandra. Sandy's with us. She says, good morning. We've got people watching, so if anybody's new, feel free. Questions, comments, Marianne will answer you live. Questions about ghosts, negative energy, portals, smudging, a little bit on the wee folk maybe. Are they really active this time of year since it's so cold outside, or do you think they kind of like wander off, slip through the dimension, go where it's warmer? Because I would.
I think some of them actually come in, and people have, which is not a really good thing to do. So many people have made the little fairy houses outside during the summer. They're so cute with all the little tiny stuff in them. And then I don't know if they feel bad or they don't want it to get ruined with the snow or the weather. So they bring it in. And what do you bring it in with you? You move their whole house inside so they don't have to go south for this winter. They can just live in your basement. So, yeah. So I don't think people think things out all the way to the end. And I realize a lot of people wake up because they're cute and it's a good thing for you to do, especially this past summer, doing something with your kids outside because you can't do anything else. Mm-hmm. But I wonder, are they just doing it because it's cute, or are they doing it because they really believe in it? And even if you,
it could be both, honestly.
Right. And if you don't believe in it, but you bring your little house inside, by the end of winter, you're going to believe in them because there's going to be problems in the house. So.
Now, might you accidentally, and I say that because I wasn't looking to bring them in, and yet I ended up with, one or two in the house right after you cleared, the creepy old guy. So are there ways to accidentally get them
I think sometimes they don't like to share the space with earthbound spirits. They don't mind sharing it with ones that come to visit from the lighter spirit guides. But for some reason, they do not like earthbound spirits. And a lot of times when the house is clear of earthbound spirits, they'll move in. And again, with your history and likes in the store and everything, that wouldn't surprise me to see them. Oh, good. Now we can get in her house and see what she does there, which is pretty much what happened to you.
Yeah.
So, oh, good. Let's go. You had dogs at the time. Let's make them crazy. And
the cat and
right. And they were messing with all of that. So. Right. But at least they can be cleared out. I mean, I can't do it, but you can, and I give you the instructions on how to do it, so it works. So, but definitely.
I only had to go so far as gathering the plants, and they were still sitting out on the porch. And maybe it was just the threat of like,
Oh, she
getting
knows
ready to
too
do it.
much. Right. We're leaving now before we have to. Right. I will tell you, here's a little hint. If you're a person that has birds for pets, and I'm talking from, parakeets, canaries, up to the big parrots, and if you keep your bird seed in the house, I'm going to say that 85 or 90% of you have little folk in the house. That is like crack cocaine to little people. They love millet. So if you have, I was actually in, golly, what store? What Bueller's? This was we don't even have one around here now, but it was down in Worcester, and I was going up and down the aisle at Bueller's, and they have that pet section.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can buy those little boxes if you have parakeets at home of millet. And there was a little person sitting on the shelf trying to open up a box of millet in Bueller's. And I turned around and walked down the other aisle. There's nothing I can do about it. No, I'm not even going to look at it. Throw up. Eat it and throw up. I don't know.
I can only imagine. There's a really nice garden center out in Avon that they do like the big yard boulders, but they've got all the different types of like the peanuts and the millet and the suet. And so now I have to wonder what goes on in their place.
It's sold. Right. I mean, you've got to keep it in, if you've got it in the house, keep it in something that seriously can lock tight that they can't open.
So treat them like raccoons.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but you've got it because they're smart little, and and just don't think about the little ones. They're just this big. Think about a troll or something like that could be 3.5, 4 feet tall. They're strong enough to take the to open up a Rubbermaid container. Mm-hmm. So you've got plan ahead.
So we got from Natalie. Hello, ladies. How do you know if you have fairies or trolls? Do they leave any signs?
If you have animals in the house, a lot of them don't like animals, so they can be really mean to your animals. And especially, again, I'll mention the birds. If you have pet birds, they can be, which is crazy because they should want the birds there to get the millet in the house, but they can be mean to birds too. They are pranksters, tricksters. I mean, you know how many people now have huge bowls of sitting on their dining room table with corks out of wine bottles? I mean, I guess that's the new design now, to put them on your counter. And wake up in the morning and they're thrown all over the floor. Or there was some in the library once, and a ghost can do this, but so were they doing it, and I knew it was them because it was only the lower shelves. They would knock all the books off 2 or 3 of the shelves. There was an infestation of them in a Tuesday morning. They were knocking everything off the shelves overnight. And they had cameras inside, and they just saw stuff falling off the shelves. They never actually saw anything. So they can, and they try to play with your kids, and they can teach your kids some bad habits. So you don't really want them. They may be cute and they look like Tinkerbell, but looks are deceiving.
But do they cause like the health problems that an earthbound would have being around? So it's like they sound similar.
There's differences, right? No health problems. It's funny. Ghosts will hide stuff, but they don't hide anything. They'll just come in and knock everything off the top of your refrigerator or clear your dining room table, where a ghost will take your keys and go hide them someplace so you can't find them. Or a ghost will take your keys and open up the refrigerator and put them in the refrigerator, which Sometimes you think you could have done that, but think about it.
I'm not admitting to anything.
Yeah, right. So but no, it's a difference. Plus the fact, and and I don't know why, but when I talk to somebody on the phone, and that's what they have in their house, because they're not dead, I can't see them. So, but I hear a really high pitched noise when I'm talking to somebody and they've got them in their house. It's like, I don't even know what to describe it. It's just a very high pitched, it's not enough where you want to grit your teeth, but it's almost to that point. And it's like, ooh, they got little people in the house. And that's usually, sometimes if they've got ghosts in the house, and a little folk will come in, sometimes I'll get like a beep, 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 but they're not living in there. They just popped in and they apparently didn't stay because of the earthbound spirits. But definitely once I'll get, everything was great and it must have came back and the seeds are up and I don't understand. And I hear this loud noise in it's like, oh no, here we go. And some of the stuff you need to get rid of them, it's hard to find this time of year because one of the things you need to get rid of them is, I think everybody knows them as chicks and hens. They're I'm sure there's some elaborate name for them, but I don't know what. But the weird thing is there was a lady in Lorain County just over Christmas, and she had them in her house. And I said, this is what you need. You can get this from someplace. I don't know where you're going to find chicks and hens this time of the year. Son of a gun, I walked into Giant Eagle 3 days later, and they had this whole racks of succulents that they were selling. There they were. So I called her up and I says, go to your Giant Eagle. If they don't have them, I told her which Giant Eagle they're at. I says, you can get them now. So, but
yeah, some of those greenhouses are starting to crank out the stuff for spring already and shipping them out. And
right. And if you think about it, think back to when you went to your grandma's and grandpa's house years ago when you were a little girl. A lot of them that came over from, that came from Europe or South America, that came over to this country, their backyards, it's amazing. They all have chicks and hens planted around their front or back steps. A lot of them have a quinseed bush in their yard. Think about it. Look what they brought with them. A lot of them have lemon verbena planted in their yard. Why? Is it just traditional that they brought this custom with them from Europe? I think there's something to it.
And now, while we're still on the fairies, because we'll switch over because we've got questions coming up about earthbounds, but I don't want to keep going
back and forth. Yeah.
My question is, if we vibrate high and call the angels to clear them, then the fairies can't stay, right? So will the angels come in and...
No, it's like trying to call an angel in to get rid of a ghost. Fairies and that group of beings, they jump in and out of different dimensions. That's why they're very hard to catch. And even when you have a ghost, an earthbound spirit, it's like, well, I called Michael the Archangel. Why didn't he get rid of it? Or why didn't my guardian angel get rid of it? And you hit something right on it. It's different vibration levels. But the little folk, they're not in that realm. They pop in and out of another dimension.
And let's see, one last. Sandra was saying that she would keep her seed in a Tupperware container and off to find the lid open. So
a little folk could do that, not a ghost. But you're right. That's a possibility.
Okay, well, I guess we can move on into, unless there's any last minute questions about fairy folk, we'll kind of transition on over into some of the the earthbound sides of things. I know we had a local lady that would make these adorable little fairy houses. Like she even made like a little mini like gypsy wagon. It had teeny tiny little crystal ball and everything in there, and they were adorable. And there were people like, "Oh, there's a fairy in with it," and I'm like, "Take it home."
Yeah, because your seeds aren't going to stop them from coming in.
Well,
No.
that's a good point. Seeds don't stop fairies. It's
Right.
you know, like the only way I can really think of, because I'm a like metaphor, like if this, then like this, like that. And I tell you, I'm like, well, if we're like 100.7 on the radio station, fairies are, at a 102.3, earthbounds are like 99.5, and they're all on these different, and they kind of bleed, but they don't live in that bleed.
Exactly
So, I'm like, how do you explain how that works in the dimensions? And we need a theoretical astrophysic dimensional scientist person, maybe.
Yeah. I used to laugh. There used to be a show a long time ago on TV where it was Scott Bakula. He would jump in and out. He would die and pop in another light.
And he had the guy in the little computer Ziggy thing.
Right. I remember
Quantum Leap.
There you go. Yeah. When I first saw that, I kept thinking to myself, gosh, that's the way those little creepy things work. They jump in and out like that. I mean, there's sometimes something just goes, and that's TV, and that's supposed to be fiction. Not so much.
Somebody on that writing team has some ability and was like,
that's right.
It's a good storyline.
Right, exactly right.
Like the person behind the Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah, a little bit. Right.
Just saying.
If they didn't listen to me, but that's okay.
Oh, true. Let's see. So, I know there was a question, and I'm lost it when I find it. I'll put it up here. But the question was: sometimes when people die and they go into the light, they're given the choice to come back. Have you ran into that? Was there an earthbound person who kind of maybe started stepping in, and then decided, no, I'm going to stay here after all? Here we go.
You're referring to when I make the light? I read about. Okay, no. If it's a near-death experience, they go into the light halfway into it, and they want to go forward because it's supposed to be so encompassing with love that you don't want to leave, and you actually see family and friends that you know. So it's like you look back and you think, no, I got to go forward. But if it's not your turn, they do pop back in their bodies. I've heard many, many, many stories about that, and the stories are identical all around the world. So it's not like some person thought this up. Everybody has, and how can so many people have exactly the same story when they're total strangers, total country differences? So yes, that definitely, if it's not your time, you're not going to go. I have never found one that I know, and that bad one, the one that threw the axe in front of me. He said he was going to go to the light, and I remember making the light, and he started to walk to it, and just before he got into it, he zipped right past it, and he left. He went back. So he's the only one that I know that I personally, where he's changed his mind and didn't go. But I had doubts if he was going to go anyway. He was so creepy. But yeah, exactly.
So we have a question from Worcester. Says, good morning, ladies. Still stuck in Worcester, but moving soon. We usually get the transient experience as we're close to the tracks in downtown. Do we smudge our current residence before we move the new house?
Yeah, right. If you're down by the depot, that's where your house is, which I know where it is, by the car dealership down there. Absolutely. Smudge, make them lethargic before you leave this house. And the day before, well, I'm sure a lot of people the night before take little stuff over to that new house. Smudge that house, and then smudge your house you're leaving so that they don't come with you. Now, over the course of the moving, if they rode with you when you went to your new house, they're going to know where it is. But this will try to, persuade them not to come with you. But yeah, that's the way you would do that.
You would have to hope like they're so lethargic in the current house that they're like, screw it, I'm just going to go to the neighbors. It's closer.
That's exactly right.
Chris asks if there's any way to smudge without using smoke. Health issues, they're asthmatic.
Hopefully you've got a really good friend that will smudge your house for you and wait 2 hours and open the windows up and air the place out. I truly do not know anything. Again, an ordained priest or minister can come in and they can throw their holy water around and it'll be fine. But that will only last 3, 4, 5 weeks at the longest. And you are not going to get a priest or a minister to come in and do it that often. I can absolutely assure you of that. So, but I know, Melissa, do you still have a spray smudge in the store? Do you still carry that?
Yeah, but I like to tell people that's more for like you're not for like big rooms or like if you, small places.
I've never found it working. I really never found that working at all. I would say if you really think you've got that kind of a problem, then you personally or anybody in that house should probably be wearing a charm so that, a quincy charm so nobody can get around you. That would be my best suggestion to you.
Oh, right. So Sarah, I think there's a first part of the question we're not seeing. But so she has an 8-year-old son who's afraid to go from room to room. Could it be a ghost following him around?
Listen to your children. If they are afraid to go in, stay, or they're in bed with you every night at 2:00 in the morning, or if you have to, an 8-year-old, you have to go take him to the bathroom and wait outside. There's a reason he's afraid. There is probably something going on in the house. And, make a call, come on Zoom, do something. But no kid should be afraid in their own house. That doesn't mean that the ghost is following him from room to room. The ghost could have just scared him so bad in one room that he is now afraid to go into any room, especially if down the basement, he grabs the cat or makes the dog go downstairs with him in the basement because he's afraid to go down the basement steps. And so, no, listen to your kid.
And, I have to ask, like, is this something that's happened to your son? The bed shaking, hearing all the voices.
Right. When he's come in bed with you in the middle of the night, what was he afraid of? Was he afraid of his closet? Was there something under his bed? Did somebody pull the covers off of him? Did somebody roar him and make ugly faces at him? This stuff all happens. So definitely, check it out. You don't, an 8-year-old, you don't want him to be afraid.
Right. Especially in their own home. That's supposed to be your safe space. Right. So Marie asks if you've ever came across the same ghost twice, like they refused to go into light the first time, but then later realized you were right and that they should go in.
The only time I have ever worried about that, like I did, like the man that said he was going to go into the light and then veered off. I really, really wouldn't want to see him again in somebody's house because he was really nasty bad. When people have a portal and an earthbound spirit comes out of that, those are really not good people that come out of a portal. The only way they can leave is for me to create the white light to go to it or back into the portal. And I would say more than half of them do not want to go to the light. They go into the portal because I think they're afraid of retribution because they're murderers, rapists, child pedophiles. These are bad people. And so the ones that have gone back into the portal, I've often wondered, going to a house with the portal, if I will see one of these people again. There was a house I did where the man was out of the portal and he said, what did he say? He's Ernie. Ernie said I shouldn't come into this house. I said, who's Ernie? He says, oh, Ernie's in the portal, he says, but you talk to him at a house, a different house. He says, and he's not coming in here while you're here. So I guess Ernie didn't want to deal with me again, but I didn't see him, but apparently he was in the portal. So, but I've never seen a regular earthbound spirit that didn't go to the light and that I found in another house. Which I'm surprised, because up until I was 50 or 60 years old, a lot of them didn't cross over. Not that the light wasn't there, but they weren't going to listen to some, like when I was 14 or 22 or 33, talking to a 65, 70-year-old man. All I got was the finger. They weren't going to go anywhere because, girlie, don't tell me what to do. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I heard that. And so it's like, what am I can't grab them and throw them in, still free will. But I never ran across any of those a second time. Now, I had been called to a funeral for a father. Their father died, and he said that he was not going to go to the light. He was going to stay with his wife. And when she died, I got called to the funeral, and they were both there. So I guess I saw that one. I've seen those more than once, but not total ones that I just clear out of a house. No.
Right. Well, and I imagine, the Earth is so big, the likelihood to maybe see one again.
Right.
Unless they really like Lakewood and just, I'm only going to haunt Lakewood. But
right.
Why?
Right. Now when they have every place else to go. Exactly.
So our buddy Lewis asks, I've heard through the grapevine that sometimes when people die from a violent and quick death, their spirits sometimes don't know that they are dead. Is this true? And have you ever seen it happen?
Does not happen, Lewis. I can absolutely assure you, the last time, after you take your last breath and your spirit leaves your body, you look down at your body and don't tell me you don't know you're dead. There's no way that you do not know you're dead. That is, in my opinion, a cop-out for people that don't have an answer for something else, and they'll say, well, they didn't know they were dead, and that's why they're here. I will never agree to that or go along with that. No, you know you're dead. You're standing at the foot of your casket, you're looking at your body. There's a house fire, you died in the house fire, your spirit's looking at that, and you're thinking, my God, my body's in there, and you don't know you're dead? No, you know you're dead.
Let's see. Kim says, my husband died twice while having meningitis. Since then, he sees spirits constantly. He doesn't know how to close himself, how to kind of stop that. Do you have suggestions on what he can do?
That's actually a pretty common theme when people have had near-death experiences. It opens up something. I don't know if it opens up a third eye because you've seen the white light or you've got like extra information that you have knowledge of because you saw it. And the only thing that I would guess is that I'm curious if he's seeing earthbound spirits or spirits that have crossed over. If he is seeing people that he knows that are dead, all he has to do is say, you're bothering me, please don't come back. They're from the light. They have to listen to him. So that could be one way to cut down on some of it. If they are earthbound ones, he's going to have the house cleared, or he's going to have so that the seeds go up so they can't come in, or he's going to have to start carrying a Quincy charm, but that will only keep them away. That doesn't mean he won't see them. So you got to figure out which kind he is seeing before you can figure out what the best way to stop it is going to be.
So slightly back to the quick death. So the question is, so if a plane crashes in the ocean, and are there hundreds of spirits on top of the ocean saying, what just happened?
I was called and I am not going to remember the flight number, the one that went down in the Atlantic. And that's the same thing that when the towers were hit, there was a lot of people standing there going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And then they would go to their houses or where they lived. I mean, they had to go someplace. And so yeah, they do, but they realize they're dead. Okay, a lady goes down, for those of you that are familiar with Cleveland, a lady goes downtown to Cleveland to go to one of the casinos. And she's by herself. She's in parked car garage. She's in a garage with a parked car. She gets done. She walks back to her car, and she gets hit on the back of the head. Never saw who hit her. They open up her trunk and throw her in a trunk, drive her car, drive her down to the East Ninth Pier, and dump her body inside Lake Erie. I don't know how long it takes for somebody to drown. 2-3 minutes? I don't know. But as soon as they dumped her, they drove away. Now, she comes out of the water, her spirit comes out, and she's looking around trying to figure out what just happened to her. She knows that she came out of the water, so she knows she's obviously dead. But she actually doesn't know who did this to her because she never saw them. So, a lot of times you think, well, the person is going to go till they get even with who killed them. Sometimes they don't know who killed them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's pretty much that sort of covers it.
So this one's been answered many times. We'll give a quick answer because I think Chris is maybe new joining us. But why are portals in a house, and what exactly are they?
A portal is an energy opening in a wall, and it is connected to other portals. It reminds me of subway tunnels, where subways go underground and they're everywhere and they can stop at different stations. Well, consider a portal in a house a station. So all these spirits that were not nice people that chose not to go into the white light because they did really bad things. Let's say they chose the black light or the black puddle or whatever. So they're in these portals. They come into your house. The good thing is only one can come in at a time. The other good thing is they can't stay any longer than a day and a half or 2 days. Then they pop back in the portal. They can come back in a couple days, or another one can come in at whatever. And they can go anywhere in the house. They can go in an attached garage. They have to stay within the 4 walls of the house. If you have an attached sunroom, they can go out there if it's got a solid roof from the house. But if it's got one of those tin roofs, no. Then they have to stay in the house. And that's why some people say, gee, the house is fine for a couple of days. And all of a sudden, it's like all the wheels fall off. Everybody's fighting. Nobody feels good. Mm-hmm. That's because that's the day that somebody popped out of a portal. Portal is blown open by live people, not dead people. Something very negative had to happen where that portal was blown open. Somebody was so angry they put their fist through the wall. There was some kind of addiction in the house with a lot of fighting, drug, alcohol, whatever. Nasty, nasty divorce. And after the economy was so bad 8-10 years ago and people lost their houses, which I'm afraid is going to happen now too because of the virus. And there was a lot of foreclosures. And people were so angry. They lived in the house for 20 some years and they were losing it. They were going to have nothing. That is enough of an anger to blow open a portal. That's why when I tell people to buy these houses and flip them, if you're having a lot of problems flipping a house, that could be why. Because something's coming out of the portal and making you stop. So, but that's pretty much a portal in a nutshell.
And they're not like you're stuck with it forever. People can
Oh
go out.
no. As a matter of fact, I've talked to people on Zoom that are from different parts of the country that I can't do anything about. I mean, if you were local, I could close it, but where am I going to go? I'm not jumping on a plane to Virginia or California. And I can tell you where it is in the house when I talk to you. And if you smudge in that, say it's in the hallway where the bedrooms are, if you smudge that hallway once a week, which is really a lot because you don't really have to smudge more than every 2 weeks, but with the portal, I would do it more often. Something will pop its head out and go, don't like the energy, I'm not coming out. So you're not curing it, you're putting a Band-Aid on it, but it works. It will stop anybody from coming out of that portal until at some point it can be closed.
Excuse me. So Patrick has a quick question. Have you ever come across someone who was lying about being able to see earthbound spirits? And if so, do you out them?
What I've tried to do when that happens, and a lot of times I will get moms or dads that say my teenager can do this, my son can do this, my daughter can do this. And so I will go to their house, and normally I will not let children stay in the house. Or let's say it's an adult that says they can do it. I'll go in the house and I will be looking at the ghost on whoever it is, and I'll say, so who do you see? And they'll say something, and I'll go, no, that's not what I see. And what I will normally say then, because how do you tell somebody? I mean, people tell me I'm crazy because I see ghosts. I'm not going to tell somebody you're crazy, you're not seeing anything, because maybe they are seeing something that I don't see. Mm-hmm. So what I usually try to say is, you must see ones that have crossed over because I can't see them. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to call somebody out. I just won't do that. So I don't know. So any of you that I have said to, gee, you must see ones that crossed over, you really don't know what I was thinking.
Let's see. So feel free to keep asking questions, especially anybody new. Questions, comments, and Marianne will answer you live. Making sure we haven't missed anything yet. Now, if you have a question on if you have anything in your house, our next Zoom, we just put it up and it's in February 12th. There we go. I'm like, I know it's a Friday in February. So February 12th, there have already been a few people who have signed up for it, but there's still plenty of room. You get on, you have your camera and your microphone on, and Marianne can answer what's going on in your house or wherever you're at. Please don't be at work, but want to know about your house. She sees where you're at. So unless you're
this past one, there was a lady that was scared to death to stay in her house because somebody was scaring her. So she was at a relative's house calling me, and it's like, I can't tell you anything because you're not in your house. And I said, how close? I said, do you live far away? She says, no, we're in the same development. I'm 5 minutes away. I said, get off, go to your house and get back on. And she did. That's what she did. And she actually did have somebody in her house. Mm-hmm. So she was right. The ghost was thinking it was great scaring her out of the house, but we took care of
that. So let's see. All right. Questions are a little quiet right now. Don't be afraid. There's no
stupid question, believe me.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm like, well, when you
you'd be surprised. There's no stupid question.
Well, that's been the thing. Like, it's funny. I hear a lot. People come into the store and they'll get really close and they're like, I have a question, but you're gonna probably think I'm crazy. And I'm like, oh, I can almost guarantee you, or I know where this question's going. And I'm like, do you see where you are?
Right, right. Look
Welcome to your
around you.
time.
Right.
We're all crazy here.
Right.
And we keep it on the legal side so nobody gets arrested.
Right.
Let's see. Lewis asks, if I join the Zoom and it turns out there's nobody in my house, will I have to leave the Zoom, or can I still say, no, you can stay?
No, people stay on for the whole thing. I mean, it starts at 7:30. Right. When did we get off this past Monday? 10:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can stay on the whole time as long as no. The good thing is this, new people, we try to get them to ask their questions first. And ones that are on, because there are some that are on every week. They just say it's better than night television. So, right. And so, but you can stand as long as you want. You can stand to the end or you can click off. It's whatever you choose to do. But no, once you're in there for as long as you want to stay. And I think somebody was a little bit aggravated this past because it was going too long, and he got off then. So, and he hasn't called me yet, so he must have been a little bit angry that it was going that long. But
I mean, everybody needs to ask their questions and find out. I mean, that's why you paid to be there. So,
right, that's right.
Yeah.
And I try to move them along. I don't try to let people get too. I mean, I'm sure stuff happened when you were 12 years old, but you're 62 now. I don't know what happened when you were 12 years old. We have to talk about what's happening now. But I'm one of these people that you can tell something to that happened to a long time ago, and I'm not going to tell you you're crazy because I'm sure it happened to you.
Let's see. And just a quick thing. If you lose connection, like your internet blips and it kicks you out, you can rejoin and we'll let you back in. So that's happened a few times, especially if you have ghosts in the house that are being wonky with stuff. So you don't have to worry about that. Chris asks if you've ever been to the Winchester Mystery House, and if so, what did you think?
Somebody from Ghost Whisperer was trying to get me in there to go into that house. And at the time, they were getting, apparently, there's a whole list of permits. Well, it's California. So who knows? But there was a whole list of permits and things that you needed to do. They were trying to get me in there and on the Queen Mary, which they actually shot one of the Ghost Whisperers on the Queen Mary. But I couldn't be in California that week that they were shooting, so I was not on that. But it fell through on the Winchester House. I never did go out there. I'd be curious to know what's in there, but I have never actually been in the Winchester House.
Well, since we're talking about famously haunted locations, do you want to talk about Mansfield real quick?
Mansfield Prison, that's amazing. That is actually, for those of you that don't know, that is where the
Shawshank Redemption,
right, was filmed there. And it was Halloween, of course, and the PBS station wanted to do a piece there for Halloween. So we went down, and I have to tell you, there were no ghosts there when we first got there. But about 1,000 feet behind this prison is where the new prison they built, and they moved everybody out of this one. As soon as the ghosts that were in the new prison started seeing the television crew and the cars and the people, then they came over from the other side. So there were definitely ghosts there, but just plain old ghosts there on an everyday level, no, they need energy to keep going, human energy, and the place is closed down. Where are they going to get it from? What I thought was interesting, and I don't know if very many people knew this, but the top floor of that prison, many, many, many years ago was a TB ward. And there were actually people in there that had died of tuberculosis. And their families never claimed their bodies, and they just buried them in the prison cemetery. And they were a little bit upset about that because they thought they would at least be, once they were dead, they weren't contagious anymore. And they didn't understand why they couldn't be buried in their family plots or whatever, which nothing I could really do about it. But yeah, I'll tell you, there are, the cells are grimy. There was still dirty underwear in one of the cells. And the interesting thing was, it wasn't prisoners that I saw in there. It was victims that had been killed. And they were trying to get even with who killed them. And that's why they never crossed over, because they wanted to see the movie goes. Patrick Swayze didn't cross over till he found out what happened to him. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty accurate. So, but no, if you go visit any haunted place on Halloween, the prison, wherever you go, these haunted houses, I've had to clear out some of them. Definitely, you better have your charm on you so that you don't have anything follow you home from one of these places.
Excuse me. Patrick asked if doing the Zoom, do the sessions get confusing? Like, you sense multiple things from different locations. So trying to differentiate all those little boxes and
right. Before we start, I'm sort of looking at the boxes when everybody comes in, and I'm thinking, that one's got something. Nope. I wonder what they want, because there's a man in that house. And I look through all the boxes. And so, no, I can focus on that particular box. The only time, and that was recent, I kept getting the name.
Oh, it was a lady's name.
No, it was a man's name, Wilbert. I kept getting a Will or a Bert. And I was talking to this girl, and she says, no, I don't know anybody like that at all. And I said, all right. I said, I don't know what that is. The box right next to her. When I finally got to that girl, and I'm talking, and it's like, oh my, I said, you're the Will or the Bert. She goes, yeah, the name is Wilbert. It was the last name. So, but it was the box right next to her. And like I said, this lady, the first one, didn't have any idea who it was. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I just tell you what I pick up.
Right. I think Patricia was on with one of our last ones, and, so she's got the portal. How many times should she smudge?
I would smudge, Patricia. It's in your hallway between the bathroom and the bedroom door. I remember talking to you. Smudge at least once a week in that hallway. When you first start smudging, smudge the whole house. But then after that, at least once a week, just smudge that hallway so they can't pop out of it. I think you're close to me, though. But definitely, like I said, that'll put a Band-Aid on it, and that will stop somebody from coming out of it.
Oh, right. The question is, if someone dies unexpectedly, like in their sleep or a traffic accident, are they really upset, or is it wonderful in that they're happy, like they finally, like,
depends on their age. Right. Depends on their age. If they are somebody that died in a nursing home or they were really sick, today's a good day to die. They're fine with it. They start seeing moms, dads, husbands, wives, loved ones. They are fine with it. Cancer patients are fine with dying. They are so tired. They are so done. They just need it to be over. Quick deaths, however, if it's a murder, a lot of times they do not want to cross over until they figure out or find out why they were killed, or somebody has to know why they were killed. A quick death. There's a guy standing at the foot of his casket, and he's got a 2-year-old, and his wife and him are crying. The wife and the baby are there, but he sees in the light his grandfather, and his grandfather's going, please come, please come. But he keeps looking over at his wife and his kid. He keeps thinking, no, I guess I better stay. So he lets the white light go and he stays. So there's all kinds. A 16-year-old wraps his Camaro around a utility pole. There he is at the foot of his casket. I don't want to be dead. I'm going to hang out with my buddies. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying. So they stay. And here, when you die and you don't cross over, you stay the same age. So he's 16, but now the following year, his buddies are 17. And then 18, and they're graduating from high school, and now they're going to college, and he's still 16 years old. And so he was happy about it in the beginning, but most of the time they're sorry they didn't go cross over. Sometimes I run across these people that died when they were 16 or 17, and they died 70, 80 years ago. So they had great, great, great grandchildren running around. And here they're still 16 or 17. So it just depends. Some of them are happy, some of them aren't happy. I think it is, a man that gets killed in a car accident on his way to work. The only people that can invite me to a funeral is an immediate relative. You cannot believe how many nosy neighbors there are. I was shocked when they would call me. It's like, are you a relative? Well, no, but I've always wanted to ask her. It's like, no, I'm not coming. So and there's always an exception, the employer, one person or the boss can be there, and they're allowed to ask one question. And in the last 7 to 8 years, that question has been, what's the password for your computer at work? If they like his boss, they get the answer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like the boss, the hand signal comes up pretty easy. So
Right. Just thinking of all the times of working for big box retail like Borders and everything, and like, wasn't a fan of my district manager.
Right. And so you probably wouldn't have told her, pay some high-priced IT guy to come in and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, now you're going to have to reset the whole darn thing. Good luck with that.
Yeah, but that's now. I don't know how hard that was when that first started. I mean, I think everybody really needed to know the password. And apparently a lot of big companies, they give the password to their new employees, but they don't keep it.
No. There was only a very few things that I had that only I, and then maybe me and the assistant right under me, because it was like HR stuff. Everything else, everybody had it. And so, yeah. Oh, let's see. So Andrew asks, did your views on the afterlife, like heaven, religion, change after finding out about your gift? Do you still consider both beliefs compatible?
I do, because even though being Catholic, I will call going into the white light heaven. That's my opinion of it. Everybody has their own opinion of the other side, out of here, over there, whatever. But no, I think I rely on my religion more because of it. When this first started and I couldn't see inside people's houses when I talked to them, it was so frustrating because I would go and nothing would be there. Then they would be mad at me because they didn't have anything. And it was like, oh, this is crazy. I don't even want to do this anymore. So that one night that I had such a terrible day, I remember, again, saying my prayers and saying, oh, and by the way, God, if you want me to do this, you better come up with plan B because plan A isn't working. And 3 weeks later, I could see inside houses. So I've gotten a boost from my religion as far as that goes. I haven't always been really accepted by a lot of the priests and the nuns and stuff like that. Not in the beginning. Now there's no problem. But so, yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. I think it's people that have absolutely nothing, no belief system. They're, agnostic or atheist, and it's nothing. You die. You're a pile of ash. You're nothing.
Mhm.
And I get invited to those funerals, and there's this person standing at the foot of their casket, looking at themselves, going, "Oh my God, is a God. I'm not a pile of ash." Those are really funny, and not funny, haha, but funny funerals to go to, because it's like, oh my God, there really is a God. Can I go in there? Will I go to hell? Now all of a sudden, hell and heaven exist when they didn't do it for the last 70 or 80 years. So, but
Right.
no, it's a belief system. I don't see air, but I know I'm breathing it. But oh, gee, if it's foggy outside, I can see the air.
Mhm. Right. Let's see. Lewis asked, have you ever met someone that actually liked being a ghost and preferred being dead than when they were alive and wanted to stay earthbound?
Yes, I actually found quite a few of those in California. So I'm going to be pretty general here and just say that the ghosts in California
No name dropping.
have pretty much the same mindset as all people that live in California have. Their ghosts are as goofy as them sometimes, and they like being able to jump into actors and actresses' houses and see whatever they want to see, and especially if they were stalkers, which Jennifer Love Hewitt had a stalker. So, and the crazy part of it was, once I told her his name, she graduated from high school with him, which she never even knew. So, yeah, no, stalkers don't want to cross over. There are some people that don't want to cross over.
Mm. And can a spirit hurt themselves or get hurt?
No, they cannot. They're pure energy. They don't eat, they don't sleep. The body was what was either mangled or diseased or missing parts and pieces. The spirit's always whole.
Now, here's the fun question. I was glad when I learned this from you years ago. She says, I don't want to be old when I cross over like I'm now. Can we be young again? And heck, yes, we can.
Absolutely, we can. You go back to an age you look good, which I have to tell you isn't necessarily 18. But real quick, a lady had called me up and she said, I think my mother is still here, but all she ever talked about was going to see my father. He's been dead. He was 70 something when he died, and she's in her 90s. And I says, there's a lady in this pink outfit with her hair up in a bun. She goes, that's my mother. So I went over, and of course the spirit can hear anything that the daughter is asking me. So she said, why didn't mom, didn't she see dad? And the spirit goes, yes, I saw him. And I said, yes, she saw him. And she says, well, why didn't she go? She said, oh my God, you should see how handsome he is. He is so young. What's he going to do with this old lady? And that's what she did to her face. What's she going to do with this old lady? I says, no, 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 no. Go to the light and you'll be hot too. You don't have to worry about it. So you will go back to an age that you liked yourself and liked the way you looked. Yeah.
When in the light, not if you stay
Yeah, no, in the light. It doesn't happen out, but as soon as you go in the light, yes, you will.
I'm going to be 27 again. Nothing hurt. I was in shape.
There we go. Pick what you want, right?
Lucky Luke asked if you've ever seen a demon.
I've seen 3 of them in all the years I've been doing this. I actually saw one with a hoof and tail.
This is even news to me. Do tell.
Yeah, it was, and the woman and her husband were so nice. But I was standing in their dining room, and all the blinds and the shades in all the room were like going up and down. The blinds were opening and closing. I'm thinking, this lady's trying to prank me or something. She must have this stuff on her. I mean, because I couldn't see anybody doing it, but yet it was being done. And this thing comes out of the bedroom, out down the hallway. And he did. He looked like he was fine from the waist up. He had bad eyes, like they were black. They were so void. I don't know. There was nothing there. They were just like no pupils, like just black marbles. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this man? And he walked in and I heard click, click, click on the wooden floor. And I looked down and he had hooves. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so I said to him, I talked to him. I said, he wouldn't talk to me. He just looked at me. And I said, you have to leave. I said, because you don't belong here, but I tried to convince him. It was so long ago. And I ended up getting hold of the priest. And I went back a second time and the priest came with me. And he ran around with holy water. And he wasn't there then. But the priest believed me. And then we put the seeds up. And apparently the seeds stopped him too, because he never came back in again. But that was the devil does exist. I have to tell you, he does exist.
New book.
I've never even talked about that before. Mm-hmm. I just sort of say, yeah, I've come across 3 that were really bad, but I never ever went into detail. Well, there's a picture of another one in the book that was that evil, the one that wouldn't go into the garage. He's the one that
threw the axe. Right?
Yeah, he's the one that threw the axe, and he definitely. I don't know if you can see his face behind.
Hang on, I'm gonna take my.
I think you can see it. Don't see him behind the car. He's right here. And he's the one that flipped an axe at me, and he's the one that said he would go to the light, and I turned the light on, and he just veered off, and he was very evil. That was a very, so I would have to say he for sure was one of the devils.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next book.
If they would be buying them, but nobody's buying books now unless you are Stephen King.
Yeah, I used to be a King fan, not anymore. Can aliens from other worlds use portals?
That's a good question. No. Earthbound spirits use portals. Aliens don't need portals. They can just go wherever they want.
That's a whole other.
An hour isn't long enough. Take my word for it.
I was actually having a discussion with a colleague who, talks Palladians, this and that, and about, and we've joked for years about like, well, when is this shift happening? When can we get off this planet? What is this? And finally I said, you know what? I'm like, I call shenanigans. They've been lying to us for years. This has been the message from the 60s. They're fucking with us and eating the popcorn.
They are. They're intermingled with all of us, in my opinion. They're here. It's just a matter of when they're going to show themselves. I don't know. I don't know. The Earth may be dead before that ever happens.
Yeah, I just like now I'm going to have a glass of wine.
Right. I'll think about something else.
Oh, see, now Bear says new topic. Please cover aliens.
Oh no! No, I'm not a good enough expert on it. I have personal stuff that happened with it, but I'm just not. There are people that have so much knowledge about it, and I am not one of those people.
Mm-hmm. I think, when there's been these workshops, they're like, look, there's the ship. And I'm like, I see nothing. Like either they don't like me and won't show themselves to me. I'm not on the right wavelength. And I'm like, I'm out of that loop. I can't.
Are you outside when this happened or inside of a building?
Both. Like, like we've done them at the store, and they've gone out, and like two or three of the people are like, look, and they're the students. It's not even the person. Otherwise I'd be like, eh. But or people that have been in that class have later brought in the pictures and stuff, like after they went home and they've tried it, the meditations, this and that. I'm like, I'll sit on my front porch. I live in the middle of nowhere, so pretty easy to see if it's going to show up. And I'm like, nada.
Well, you're in Lorain County. Lorain County is a hotbed for UFOs.
Apparently not my little block of property. They don't they don't like me.
That's a pretty, yeah, you'd be surprised.
I'm on the blacklist, apparently.
Okay, maybe.
Let's see. I thought, now Patrick was asking if you've assisted law enforcement, but have you literally led anybody to a body?
Yeah. More than once. I have. And that's why I never talk about it, because that's why they use me, because I don't talk about it.
Right.
And I never, ever in my whole life have ever called up any law enforcement agency and said, I can help you. They call me. Mm-hmm. Because I think when somebody's missing, they get so many crank calls. Well, I'm a psychic and I can tell you where it's at. And it's always in a creek or by water. Really? So it's, yeah. They even did the same thing on Criminal Minds. It was supposed to be by water, and it wasn't until they opened the window up the shade, and there was a billboard on the building across that showed water. It's like, oh, that's really stretching the truth.
Yeah, that's reach. What are your thoughts on reincarnation? Like, who stays in the light and who comes back to this crazy place again? I'm not doing it.
Who would want to? You cannot be reincarnated until you go into the light. Earthbound spirits cannot be reincarnated. You have to go into the light and learn whatever it is you have to learn before you can come back. And it's your choice to come back. You normally always come back with the same circle of friends, the same relatives. You always don't come back in the same sex that you were when you died the last time. Sometimes people can recognize you when you do get reincarnated, but like you, Melissa, they got to get this earth way better shape than it is now before I ever come back again. When I'm there, why would I leave?
Like I'm done. Just
come let it go.
Get me now.
Exactly.
Oh wow, it's already 11:15. This one went by quick and fast. So your video tonight that's hitting on YouTube, you're going to go over, you're going to start doing some house stories where you've gone out.
I cleared houses, and this one, like I said, it starts tonight with the first house that I've ever done where I saw a 3-year-old, because I didn't even think I'd never even seen a 3-year-old up to this point, because guardian angels, grandmas, grandpas, somebody comes and gets babies. Why would they stay? Mm-hmm. But this kid talked like she was 5 or 6. And there it is. If you've got a 3-year-old ghost, then that kid is going to be able to talk really, really well. They don't sit there and cry and, say goofy little kid words. So, but it was sad, but it was informative. So I think you'll enjoy this one tonight.
All right. So, and that drops at 5:30, right? That's when they hit?
Yes, 5:30. 5:30. Yes.
Yeah. And we do this every Wednesday at 10. Our next Zoom is February 12th. So if you suspect and want an answer on whether or not you have earthbound, a portal, negative energy, that's the thing to join us on. It's $20. Otherwise, your calling waiting list is about 9 weeks out?
Yeah, about 9 weeks. The other thing that you can do on Zoom, which people have done, is if you've got a clear picture, sometimes if you hold that up, I can give you information about like this is my dad as he crossed over, that type of thing. So that's another little thing that we've been able to do on Zoom also. So
And then I might suggest, like, if it's on your phone, go to Walmart, pay the dollar, and print the picture rather than on your phone, because then you've got camera glare and lighting. Print it on the paper and hold that up. There's less glare and less issue seeing the picture camera to camera.
That good idea. Yeah, because it really is. If they have to keep angling it so that I can, try to see who I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that's a good idea.
Yeah. So we thank you guys for joining us. Join us next week. Think of questions. As you see, we'll pretty much answer anything that's in those topics.
On board, you got it.
Yeah. Pick Marianne's brain. That's what she's here for. Keep nudging her to write another book. I'm working on it.
Working on it. I'm thinking about it.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we hope to see you next week and possibly February 12th on Zoom.
Right. Have a good day and a good week. Be safe out there.
All right, guys.